action at Richmond Park was delayed by over half an hour due to a clash between St Pat's home kit and Sligo's away. The visitors eventually taking the field in Pat's spare strip. The home side made the brighter start. With new signing Gary Dempsey broke through from midfield. His shot lacked any conviction. But that didn't deter Sligo. Conor O'Grady found Jimmy McKenzie, who rounded Barry Ryan for a 1-0 lead. Pats reacted like genuine title contenders. Mark Quigley used all his speed and strength to latch onto a through ball. When he found Gary Dempsey in the centre, his shot not enough to beat Pat Jennings. Keith Fahey was next to try his luck for St Pat's. He found a position inside the area, but his header was easily dealt with by Jennings in the Sligo Rovers goal. But despite being on the back foot for most of the first half, Sligo almost doubled their advantage before the break through Faz Kadozovic. And Sligo had another chance to make it 2-0 at the start of the second half. Anton Murphy's flick found Ramal Bocco, but the Benin international shot was too high. Sligo were made to pay moments later when two new boys, Bobby Ryan and Jimmy Harris, combined for the equaliser. By now it was all St Pat's, and Mauro Almeida was on hand to prevent Sligo from falling behind. But that was only a temporary reprieve. Gary O'Neill chipped into the box, and 5'7" Ryan Guy climbed highest to head home. Indecision by Pat's old boy Anton Murphy then created another chance for Guy, and the American strikers sealed the win with an explosive finish. 3 goals in 8 minutes, sealing an impressive comeback. So 3-1 the final score on a night to forget for Sligo Rovers, but a good start for the Saints.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at all the grounds around the country, most of the matches would have been like that early on. You know, clubs, you know, a little bit tetchy, you know, not too anxious to give much away. So we get away an early goal, as I said, but very, very happy the way the lads come back, and we got the 3 goals in the second half. Fantastic performance by them.
You know, one of our little problems at the minute, we give goals away too cheaply. And I think tonight's a perfect example. I don't think St Patrick's had to do a lot to score. You know, fair play to them for coming back. You know, they're a good side, they're a strong club. You know, and we wish them every success for the season. You know, but when you look at our situation, we can't come here and just give teams goals. If you give teams goals, you will get beat. And it's something we've got to stop doing, and stop doing quickly.
You can't make excuses. The match started a bit late, and there's a little confusion going on with kits. But you know, I think just sometimes it just doesn't happen for you. And you know, we kept our heads and we did okay. And we came out the second half and did what we needed to do.
Well, the little confusion that Ryan Guy was talking about concerned these 2 sets of gear. If you hold that one up, Damien, I have the St Pat's home jersey. That is the Sligo Rovers away jersey. And the problem was with 2 white sleeves, according to the referee, Anthony Buttimer. Now, the rules from the league are fairly clear on this, and I think we'll bring this up. It says here that all clubs must have 2 sets of colours. Second strip must be different in colour and design from the home kit, which they were. Away sides must change in the event of a clash of colours. If a clash still exists, the home team are then obliged to change. The referee's decision on any necessary change is final.
A large crowd at the showgrounds for the visit of champions Drogheda United, who stumbled and lost on the opening night to Shamrock Rovers. Sligo had also slipped up, losing 3-1 at St Pat's, so not surprisingly it was cagey early on, although Drogheda goalkeeper Mikko Vilmunen gifted Sligo the first chance, but Faradin Kudasovic scuffed his effort. A poor night for football on a pitch which Drogheda boss Paul Doolan described afterwards as horrendous. Drogheda were sluggish early on, but good work from Guy Bates earned them a corner kick. Shane Robinson delivered, and big John Tambouris up from the back headed just wide. An early warning for Sligo. Robinson almost caught Sligo off guard with a curling free kick, but Richard Brush got across smartly to save. Guy Bates scored some vital goals for Drogheda last season and should have opened his 2008 account when he skipped away from Mauro Almeida but stroked his effort narrowly wide. Frustration for Bates and the travelling Drogheda supporters. Before the start of the season, Drogheda had 3 separate bids for Faradin Kudasovic turned down. The Rovers striker gave them a reminder of his ability, but his shot really lacked any conviction. Sligo started the second half brightly, but were almost undone when Eamon Zaid powered his way through. Richard Brush with a top-class save, bailing out his defenders. Magnificent stop from Brush in the Sligo goal. At the other end, Drogheda conceded a free kick. Brian Shelley's touch was a little heavy, and he picked up a yellow card for this challenge on Rafael Cretaro. Kutozovic took on the set-piece responsibility. The free kick had plenty of curl and dip on it. Bill Moonan at full stretch, happy to see it go wide. Rovers finished the stronger of the two sides, Drogheda and their keeper looking decidedly edgy. Bill Moonan flapping at Kutasovic's cross, Stuart Byrne on hand to clear the danger. Rovers, roared on by their manager, pressed on in the closing minutes and almost snatched it. Matthew Judge, on in place of Romy Boko, wriggled his way inside the penalty area, his rising shot tipped over by Vilmunen. But overall, a draw, a fair result. The defending champions won't panic just yet, but they've yet to score, yet to win. They're playing catch-up already. It finished Sligo Rovers 0, Drogheda United 0.
It was a good point, they're a good side. Like, we knew it was going to be tough, but I think we worked well together,
When you look to last season, I think there was at times we were nearly 11 points behind St. Pat's, and I think when you look at it's 2 games, and we just keep going.
Like I said last week after the Pats game, you learn by your mistakes. We're not the finished article. We're not going to turn up and beat everyone every week, but what we'll do for our fans, we'll be very committed, we'll improve as we go along, and we'll certainly be a match for most teams.
The game itself was worth the journey. It turned out to be a thriller. Sligo's Rafael Cretaro unlucky to head wide early on, Sean appreciating the effort. Bows took the lead on 27 minutes when Liam Burns fired home after a Stephen O'Donnell corner, showing sympathy clearly with Sligo. Anto Murphy's long throw-in led to Rovers levelling through Cretaro 3 minutes into the second half, Cretaro's first strike of the season. Bows had a Ken Oman goal chalked off for a foul on Richard Brush just 2 minutes later. Meanwhile, Sligo suffered the same fate when inexplicably Mauro Almeida had his effort blown up. Just 20 seconds afterwards, Chris Turner provided Glenn Crowe with the opening for a crucial lead goal. Gavin Pearce was unlucky not to level with a close-range header that hit the Bows upright. And Seamus Coleman's stunning dribble deserved to cap the night with the equaliser, but it just wasn't to be. Some consolation for the Killybegs man, a call-up to the Ireland under-21 squad.
We deserved something out the game. First half we weren't at the races at all, in my opinion. Second half I thought we were terrific. I thought we've competed, we've got amongst Bows, and we've genuinely had a good go.
I was happy with the performance. I thought we worked really hard. We didn't get that amount of effort last week, and we asked the players to do that this week, and we got it.
Still no win for Sligo Rovers after a dour scoreless draw at Belfield on Friday night. UCD's start belied their tag of relegation candidates, and defender Alan McNally was the first to try his luck. Sligo were struggling to find their groove, and it was all going the way of the home side at this point. And when Pat McWalter broke through from midfield, Richard Brush showed why he's been keeping Pat Jennings on the fringes in recent weeks. One blade for Sligo's number 1. The away side began to take the game to the opposition. Anto Murphy was afforded the opportunity to forget his defensive duties. Sligo were 7 points better off at this stage last season, and eager Killian Gallagher blocked Ramal Boko's pat to goal. UCD skipper Conor Kenna scored his first league goal in 4 years with the club in their last home game, and finishing here showed why. First, his right foot shot was too weak, and when the chance came again, he fared no better with his left. When the goals are scarce, you need to take advantage of any generosity going. Brian Shortall let Bocco away, but Greg wasn't so charitable. Sligo boss Paul Cook introduced Alan Moore to try and unhinge the students' defence, but Greg denied the former Ireland midfielder to record his second clean sheet in 3 games. 0-0 the final score. Sligo will look to the visit of Cove Ramblers to get their season back on track.
And there seems to be a good set of young lads, you know, willing lads, good players, and I just think we need a win now just to kick us on. We've had some tough games to start off with, and we just need a win now.
We didn't have the same attitude or application, we think, second half. On another night, we still had a couple of good chances, but as I say, overall, we've left with a point, but we're disappointed we're not leaving with 3.
You'd be clapping yourself in the back, getting a point, and then look at the fixture list and it's Cork away in the next match, and then we have Drogheda then. So some tough games coming up, but every game in this league is tough, and every point is precious here because it's going to be right down to the word again this year.
A poor game at the showgrounds, but Sligo Rovers and their followers won't be too worried as they chalked up their first win of the campaign. But it was Cove who got off to a flyer of a start with a goal after 3 minutes. Alan Carney played a free kick short to Davin O'Neill, received the return and then floated in a high inviting ball. Captain Kevin Murray headed powerfully into the net. A fine goal from Murray and Cove in front. Stung by that, Sligo tried to hit back. Conor O'Grady teed up Danny Ventra, but his effort was well off target. But Sligo got back on level terms after 11 minutes. Romy Boku's cross caused all sorts of problems. Brian Cash's effort deflected behind for a corner. Cash took the corner and Mauro Almeida ghosted in at the near post to head past McCarthy. A meaty header from Almeida, his first goal for his new club. And Sligo edged their way in front. Chris Butler's booming corner was kept in play by Boko. And with the Cove defence struggling to clear, Conor O'Grady fed Boko. And his excellent cross was headed home by Danny Ventra. Super header from Ventra, McCarthy given no chance. Cove went in search of an equaliser. Alan Carney's curling free kick from distance tipped over by Richard Brush. And Sligo were further under the cosh soon afterwards. Good work from Davin O'Neill before finding Michael Mulconnery. He twisted and turned the Sligo defence before crossing. The ball broke to Graham Cummins and he brought a fine save from Richard Brush. But Sligo wrapped up the points 4 minutes from time. Matthew Judge with a neat flick. Boko onto it. Cove couldn't clear their lines. And Boko smashed the ball high into the roof of the net. Fine goal from the Benin international. Sligo might have added a fourth late on. Matthew Judge showed great strength and persistence and no little skill with this chip. McCarthy called into action to make the save. So victory for Sligo Rovers. They head to leaders Derry City on Friday. Cove's wait for a win goes on. Next up for them, a home tie against Shamrock Rovers.
Like you say, we play the first 3 games against top teams. I think we can be one of them as well. If we keep going and working hard, I think they are not better team than us.
We were awful tonight, we were. Particularly the first half. This is my 4th season here and that's the worst I've seen us play, so hugely disappointed.
We've had quite a difficult start to the season in the games that we've played. To play St Patrick's, Bohemians and Drogheda in your first 3 games will be a severe test for anyone. Not that you'd know with some of our local press, you think they were easy games. Unfortunately we've come through them now. We've now had a win, we've moved up the table and we're looking forward to winning a few more victories.
Derry welcome Sligo to the Brandywell, hoping to keep their 100% home record intact. The first real opening of the night fell to Conor Salmon on 4 minutes, but the former UCD striker was unable to trouble the Rovers' rearguard. Derry dominated the opening half, and after Owen Morrison's good work down the left, his superb delivery was met by Conor Salmon, but he failed to add to his single goal of the season. Rovers keeper Richard Brush amazingly saving with his head. From the resulting corner, Rory Higgins headed towards goal, only for his shot to be stopped on the line by former Derry player Brian Cash. Sligo captain Conor O'Grady was instrumental throughout. His pass was collected by Romuald Boko, but the 22-year-old Benin international's menacing run was thwarted by the Candy Stripes' defence. Owen Morrison, fresh from his spectacular winner at Richmond Park last week, was desperately unlucky on 42 minutes. His cracking effort rebounded off the Sligo crossbar. Derry skipper Peter Hutton was making his 601st league appearance, and his sloppy pass should have been punished by Brian Cash. Derry had their chances to claim all 3 points, this one falling to Barry Malloy, but the Derry man flashed his shot into the side netting after good link-up play between Higgins and McGinn. The final chance of the game fell to substitute Kevin McHugh, and after creating space, his shot was dragged agonisingly wide. So Derry City's 100% league record at the Brandywell this season has come to an end, with the final score of Derry City 0, Sligo Rovers 0.
Overall, we're a bit disappointed. We didn't get the 3 points, but as you say, it's number one. It's a nice honour, but I mean, I'd rather have the 3 points tonight. We didn't do enough, I think, to get the one.
Always happy when you get something on the road, yeah. Always happy. You know, it's a hard game. It's a hard league. You know, I think the league's moved up a notch now. You know, and it's hard for clubs, certainly not so-called lower clubs. You know, but you've got to hang on to the shirt tail of these top teams.
We're unbeaten in the league, and that's what we want to try and continue that. But as I say, we're disappointed tonight, but you have to be realistic. I think you have to say everyone's going to give you a tough game, and I think Sligo will be tough opposition for a lot of teams.
A final appearance as Galway caretaker manager for Billy Cleary, but his side were unable to see him off with a win. Galway started in the manner of a team that had lost their last 4 in the league. We're lucky that Steve Finney didn't make more of this early chance. Defensive uncertainty has been the hallmark of Galway's season so far. And despite numerous chances to clear, winger Brian Cash was allowed to get his cross in. Gary Rogers stopped the attack, however. Cleary was dismissed from the dugout last week. This time it was the turn of the home manager Paul Cook. The Sligo boss later claimed that he'd been sitting down saying nothing out of the ordinary, and the 4th official drew the attention of referee Dave McKeown. He watched the rest of the match from the stands. It marked United's best spell of the match. Captain John Fitzgerald was the first with a meaningful attempt on the Sligo goal. There was a first start of the season for Stephen O'Flynn. The former Cork City striker still some way off match sharpness, as this finish showed. Rogers had come in for criticism in recent weeks for displays against Drogheda and against Cork, but this time he wasn't found wanting from Feeney's header. With just 2 goals this season, Galway have the most shot-shy attack in the league, and much will be expected of O'Flynn in the weeks to come. Reassuringly for their fans, United have been showing a stomach for the battle. Reggie Newtmere and Chris Butler tangled, igniting a scuffle. Butler and Wes Charles eventually earning yellow cards for their part in the affray. Rovers introduced last season's top goal scorer Faz Kadozovic. And when you've got a player on the sidelines who's capable of doing this, it highlights the current strength in their squad. The showgrounds has seen a constant stream of scouts in recent weeks, and all to look at this man, Ireland under-21 international Seamus Coleman. He beat 5 players before shooting narrowly wide. Not bad for a 19-year-old. It marked the end of the Galway assault. Reggie Newtmere won't have been happy at being outjumped by Rafael Cretaro for number 2. But there was still time for more drama. Anton Murphy was halted by Charles. The second time unfairly, said the referee, and the penalty was awarded. Galway players a little upset with Murphy's reaction. Former Sligo defender sent off, and with him went any chance of a recovery. And the unerring Kadozovic sealing the win and his own second half wonder show. Eight points from 12 for an improving Sligo. Galway stayed 4 points adrift at the bottom.
This was more or less a derby in itself, and we're just glad to get a win, and we've got to push on from there and keep getting the results.
The first goal in the Sligo killed us. It's actually the first good goal that's been scored against us all year, a bit of magic. And that's such we were lacking, a bit of quality in the last third that Sligo had, when they could bring a man off the bench and have an impact straight away.
We're looking forward to the Finn Harps game.
I sat with Paul Hegarty for the second half tonight, you know, and I think Paul's had a rough couple of games, you know, but you just worry about yourself all the time. You know, we'll go up to Finn Harps, I would imagine we'll take good travelling support, and we're looking forward to the game.
Finn Harps made an excellent start to the season, winning 2 of their opening 3 games, but it's all rather unravelled since then. Sligo Rovers started confidently. Conor O'Grady's dinked ball, Gavin Pearce with a smart volley on the turn, but straight at Gallagher. But Sligo hit the net on 23, Mauro Almeida, powering a Kudozovic corner to the net. Deja vu? Well, check out MNS April 7th, when Almeida scored in similar fashion against Cove. Harps tried to get back on level terms, but Kevin Ramsey was denied by Richard Brush. And from a long clearance, Conor Gethins played in Mark Brawley. Gethins continued his run, but was off balance when he got his shot away. Gethins looking for his second goal of the season. Sligo felt they should have had a second just before the interval. James Gallagher struggled to hold on to a long-range drive. Danny Ventra and Gavin Pearce followed up. Who got the final touch? Well, it matters not a jot, because with Sligo celebrating, Richie Winter consulted with his assistant. The outcome? A free kick for a foul on the Harps netminder. Harps had plenty of the ball in the second half, but Sligo always looked comfortable, save for this occasion when Sean Williams' corner unnerved Richard Brush in the Sligo goal. At the other end, James Gallagher endured a nervy moment of his own. His attempted clearance blocked down. Gallagher relieved to see the ball ricochet behind. Last season, Sligo managed just 8 clean sheets in the entire campaign. So far, they've recorded 5 clean sheets in 8 games. The visitors almost added a second when substitute Matthew Judge saw his header come back off the crossbar. Almeida, from a difficult angle, could only find the side netting. So back-to-back victories for Sligo, 10 points from the last 12 on offer. Harps on the slide, 5 consecutive defeats, and they failed to score in all 5.
I think it was a great goal. It was a great delivery from Faz. We are training these set pieces since long time, and it's working now. It's working. It's my second of the season, and I'm very happy because give us 3 points. It was very good.
We dug in. We've scored a very good goal. The pleasing aspect is the clean sheets. We've played better, to be honest, and not won. Harps showed a bit of resilience themselves. They kept coming, but overall, we're very happy, as I say. Not necessarily the performance didn't set us alight, but, it's about results at the end of the day.
That's the way it is, like when you haven't been winning matches, like the ball seems to be when it gets on the last third, nobody has that real belief. They penetrating runs, movement and stuff like that, but it only takes a bunch of a ball and hopefully that's not too far away.
Tough times for Shamrock Rovers. 4 games without a win before Saturday. Even the girls couldn't raise a smile. Sligo hadn't lost in 7. And how about this for a start to the night? Brian Cash. 1-0 Sligo. Go on, let the mascot join in the celebrations. No let up for the Hoops defence. Sligo looked for a penalty. Rafael Cortero the net. Not too far. Paul Cook urging his troops on. And with good effect. Another high corner. Keeper Barry Murphy couldn't get hold of it. Hardly goal of the season, but Marlo Almeida liked it. 2-0 for Sligo. It got even darker for Hoops after the break. A messy clearance. I'll take that, says Romold Boko. 3-0 for Sligo, and at this stage we're running out of celebration routines. And it could have been 4. Boko sniffed his second. Nearly there. Shamrock Rovers in real trouble now. A late rally from the visitors. If at first you don't succeed, try again, and then try a volley. Darragh Maguire just beaten by Richard Brush. 12 minutes to go, finally some relief for Pat Scully's side. Owen Doyle heading home, and Rovers in a real rush now. And when you're in a hurry, you don't want to be wasting time on such things as throw-ins or polite conversation with the opposition substitute. Patrick Flynn says hello to Alan Moore. and got a straight red card. Rovers now down to 10 men. But Sligo were beginning to look jittery. 2 goals from Darragh Maguire's head, still not enough to beat Richard Brush. Deep into injury time and Shamrock Rovers still threatening. Desi Baker showing a bit of skill and a final reward for Darragh Maguire. But even he knows it's not their night. One more go right at the death. Was this handball? Anto Murphy clears off the line. Cue some last-minute desperate defending from Sligo Rovers, but they just about cling on for the 3 points. Another defeat for Shamrock Rovers. Sligo are up to 5th in the table.
Since I'm here, best game ever. First 45 minutes, we play great attitude all together. Very good, very good.
We're now putting ourselves in a position where we want to do well. We're going to try our best to finish as high as we can. You know, we had terrific support tonight, you know, and we're really pleased how it's going at the minute. But it can change quickly.